Hello, and welcome back to the How It's Really Going podcast with Shayna Recker, and welcome everybody on the YouTube channel. I have a really cool story to share with you guys today. And I wanted to share this with you because it really emphasizes a lot of the things that I've actually even been talking about in the last few episodes here on the podcast and on the YouTube channel about the whole thing of building a business. Is it takes consistency and patience. And at some point, something's going to happen and you're going to look back and you're going to have quantum leaped yourself and you're going to be like, how did I get here? And it's these micro actions that we're taking day in and day out when no one's watching, when we're getting crickets, when it seems like, nothing's happening, and then something will shift. And that's the story I want to share with you guys today. So I have permission from my client to share this story. And it's funny. It is amazing. And it's a great example of what I just shared about that consistency and that patience. So my client, Debbie Weiss, who has been working with me, actually, we worked together all of 2022. When we started working together, just a little bit of backstory, she was wanting to be a coach for caregivers. She had been a caregiver her whole life for her family, her father, her husband, her son, and other people in her life. And she knows how taxing that can be and how hard that can be, and why self-care and all of those things are so important when you're a caregiver. Now, that's where we started. We've since evolved. She's evolved her business as we've been working together, and she still has a special place in her heart for caregivers, but she's now really shifted her business and her brand to be about, taking care of you and living your life regardless of the circumstances. She's actually writing a memoir called On Second Thought, Maybe I Can. And that book is going to be released this year. And it's all about the struggles that she's faced in her life, which she's had many, and how, even though, regardless of those struggles, she still managed to, pick a direction for her life and take action and do things, even though it was hard. And she's got a really powerful story and I can't wait for her book to come out. You guys can follow her and follow that journey for her. But here's the story of what recently happened. So part of us working together has been developing her social media, developing her at the time, her coaching brand, but then now we're working on the brand for her book, for her to be able to get onto stages and speak. And she's going to start a podcast soon and, really start getting the message out there for women who are really struggling to be able to reclaim their lives and do the things they've always wanted to do. And that's been the focus of her brand. And part of that building of her brand is, we talked about, being on social media, sharing video stories, sharing and talking. I believe this is where this industry is going, is stuff like this, where we're just being real and raw and vulnerable, and we're talking and we're sharing and we're just saying how it's really going. And that's really what Debbie's been doing. So she had an Instagram account. She's been creating reels every morning, pretty much just sharing how things are going. Now, she has a pretty powerful story, and this is a story that's just recently sort of unfolded. Her husband has been very, very ill over the past year. Actually, I think it's been for longer even than the past year, but in 2022, it got very serious. It actually got to the point where, he was almost in like palliative care. And so she's been sharing her journey of taking care of him and dealing with all the things that go on with that, as well as writing her memoir. And she's also opening a new store that sells these products. That's another side point, which I'll tell you about here in a second. But she's been dealing with all of the things, like juggling a lot of balls. Some of the balls that she's been juggling are really hard and upsetting and sad and frustrating, and dealing with, health and loved ones. And on the other side, she's dealing with things that are exciting, like writing her book and opening this store and doing these things that always been, kind of in her mind. And now she's doing them. And so she's been sharing this part of her journey on her Instagram and talking and sharing through the different feelings and all of that stuff. Now, one of the things that she did, and we were on a call last week. This is the story. We were on a call last week, and And I will say, and this is an important point of this story, is that her husband did actually pass away just before Christmas, which is very unfortunate and sad. She knew it was coming, but she just didn't know it was going to happen at that moment. And so what she did was she shared that story. It was about 8 days, I think it was, after her husband died. She finally got back onto social media and she did a video saying, it's been 8 days since my husband passed away. I'm dealing with all these feelings and all this stuff's coming up. And like, it was a reel that she did, a video that she did just talking about that. And I saw that video and, we talked about that. And while we were on our call, we were kind of catching up and talking about all the things. And she had mentioned that she'd gotten an email to me. And she said, I got an email from this woman. You won't believe it. And she was telling about this email. And it was this woman saying, I saw your TikTok video and about your husband passing away. And I just want you to know, like, I so appreciate you sharing that and being vulnerable. It really helped me. She had someone pass away recently in her life. And, she was just basically in this email telling Debbie how much she appreciated Debbie's words and what she was saying because she connected to it. And it really helped her to really look at her own life and figure out how she can, move forward from, these tragedies. And while she was telling me the story, I went, oh, TikTok. I'm like, when did you open a TikTok account? I didn't know you had TikTok. And she was like, oh, I opened it a long time ago. When I started my caregiver stuff. And she's like, recently in the past, couple, I would say even maybe month or so, she's had her assistant taking the reels from Instagram and uploading them to TikTok. And I was like, oh, that's good. I'm glad that you had that going. And so we were talking about it. And I was like, as we were talking about it, I went onto my phone because I wanted to see her TikTok account. So I open my phone and I go and find her account because I said, oh, I'm not following you on there. I better go find you. And I wanted to see how she had things set up and whatever. And I open her phone and I look at it and I said, Debbie. And she's like, what? And I'm like, you have 19.2 thousand followers on TikTok. And she was like, what? She goes, I haven't even opened the app since I opened my account like 6 months ago or a year ago. And I was like, what? And I'm like, you didn't know this? And she was like, no. And I'm like, I looked down and I'm like, Debbie, you have a video that has 1.2 million views. She was like flabbergasted. She was like beside herself. She was like, what? She was like opening her phone and opening her TikTok. And what had happened was the video that she had recorded. Now, she had other videos leading up to this video. So she had been basically having her assistant taking her Instagram reels and repurposing them over on TikTok. And so she wasn't looking at her TikTok. Her assistant was just going in and doing that. So we looked at it and she was like, there was 9,000 comments on the video. There was, at the time we looked at it, there was 122,000 likes, 9,000 comments. There was like 2,500 shares. It literally went viral. And I'm going to talk about why it went viral. And I'm also going to talk about, this whole experience in general and how it can relate to you and your business. But within a matter, so that was in a matter. So she had 20,000 followers in a matter of like 24, maybe 20, maybe, I don't even think it was 48 hours, maybe 48 hours tops of posting that video. And then I kept checking it. So we were laughing so hard because she had no idea. She was like beside herself. And like literally by the time we were done the call, we were on our call for about an hour and a half. She had already gained like another 5,000 followers. By that evening, she was almost at 30,000 followers. Now, this is only a couple of days later. Today's Friday. We talked on Tuesday. She's almost at 40,000 followers. That video has hit, I think, it's actually over 2 million. It's 2.2 million views. Insanity. Not to mention some of the videos surrounding that video have now also drastically increased in views because obviously everybody coming to watch that video or seeing that video or watching some of her other videos. Literally, she went viral. And now she has like 40,000 followers on TikTok, which is huge because you guys, she's about to launch a book. She's about to open a store online. And now she has an audience of by the time we're actually recording, this is Friday right now. So Friday it's 10:40 a.m. I haven't looked. Actually, let me just see here if where she's at. But the last time I looked, she was almost at 40,000 followers. There's Debbie. So she's at 37,000 followers. And I'm going to link her information in the notes, the show notes, and in the notes for the YouTube as well, if you want to check it out. But so it's amazing because that helped her. Now she's got this audience, and a lot of the followers that she's gained on this account, some of them are not her ideal clients, which is fine, but a lot of them are. A lot of them are women who have lost somebody, who are going through tough times, who are looking for some sort of guidance on how to reclaim their life. And that's exactly what her book is about, is how to, not let your circumstances stop you from living your life. And here's the thing. Now, this is what I want you to hear about this whole story. As great as all of this is, and as fun as all of this is, and it's just been so fun to watch this unfold. Here's what I want you to know about the situation. Debbie has been building her Instagram consistently. And I say Instagram because that's where most of this started. Like, she's just literally been repurposing over on TikTok. She has been building her content consistently. So I'm talking, she's probably every morning when she would go for a walk, she would open her phone and start recording, start saying something about whatever it was that she was doing in that moment. And those have been her videos. Now on Instagram, her videos, she's got about, I think 1,100 and maybe 1,200 followers on Instagram. So she was getting some that were getting a bit more, some that were getting a bit less, but nothing crazy. But she was consistent. She's been consistent. And that's the point. She's been consistent, but she's also not worried about, is her hair and her makeup done? Does she look perfect? Is the lighting perfect? She doesn't care about any of that stuff, nor should you, right? Like, we shouldn't be letting those things hold us back in building our online businesses because people don't care. They don't care. In fact, I truly believe the more real and authentic you can be, I'm not saying you don't have to do your hair. If you want to do your hair, but I'm just saying the more real and authentic we can be, the more connection we can create, because it gives other people permission to be real and authentic too. And I think that is so, so powerful. And when you look at Debbie's videos, she's not, she doesn't have perfect lighting. She's just literally carrying her phone, walking her dog, sharing a message. And that's the important part, is the message, right? Getting out there consistently, sharing your message over and over and over again. Now, there's that. She's also been super authentic, super real, and super vulnerable. To be able to go on and share about your husband, one, being ill, just that in itself, and dealing with all the emotions. But two, after he passes away, going online and saying, okay, it's been 8 days since this happened. Here's how I'm feeling. Here's what I'm going through. That's powerful content. I'm always saying to my clients, share your journey, share the journey of building the business, share the journey of what you're going through. That creates such great connection with people. You're bringing them on this ride with you. It's like, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing this podcast, because I know what it's like to build a business, and it ain't all sunshine and rainbows. And I want to tell you about it. I want to tell you about the good stuff, like this story with Debbie, but I'm also going to tell you all the hard stuff too, because that's what you need to hear in order to feel like you're normal, and so that you keep going and build your business. And that's exactly what Debbie's been doing. She's just literally been showing up, being vulnerable, be authentic. She's talking about the good stuff, the exciting things that she's working on. She's got this new store coming called A Sprinkle of Hearts. It's been a dream of hers forever to have it was a dream of hers to have an actual store that sold all things that had hearts on it. But because of technology and the way that we can do things today, it's going to be an online store, and it's called A Sprinkle of Hearts. She's opening that. It's actually opening on January 14th. She's got an Instagram account for it and everything. I'll tag it all here in the notes. You can see it. But she's talking about the fun stuff, but she's also sharing how hard it's also been at the same time. So she's been vulnerable. She's been authentic. She's just saying it like it is. She doesn't have a script. She's just doing it. She's literally just showing up and doing it. And when you do that work over and over and over and over again, and trust me, I've had many calls with Debbie complaining about that she's not getting the views that she wants on her videos, and that, her Instagram is growing slowly and all of these things. We've talked about these things, and it's not, you can't look at current results. You've got to stay focused on where you're going, what you're creating, who you're serving. When you can stay focused on that stuff, it doesn't matter what's going on in the real time. Real time results are yesterday's thinking, are yesterday's thoughts, are yesterday's feelings. always be thinking about what you're creating and the exciting parts of it. I'm doing this on YouTube, never done this before. I'm getting like 8 views on a video. I don't care. I'm still going to keep going. I'm still going to keep sharing because I know that somewhere somebody needs to hear this. And even if one person gets value out of this, it's worth it. Right. And so if we can stay focused on that, that's what's going to compound over time. And then all of a sudden, much like Debbie, something's going to hit and poof. Right. And it might not always be that you go viral. It might just be that you're starting to see an increase in your views, an increase in your numbers, an increase in people coming to you and asking questions and asking for links and whatever, right? Like you will start to see an increase over time, but you have to be patient and you have to be consistent and you have to be sharing like good content. But we don't want fluffy stuff anymore. We want real, we want authentic, we want deep, we want connection. That's the beautiful thing about, I think, where social media is going. Like I said, the highlight reel is out. We want to talk about like real, authentic things that we're going through as humans, whether it's a business thing, a health thing, or whatever your niche is. Don't be afraid to share all sides of your story. Because I think when you can be well-rounded like that, that's really what's going to shift your business. And if you can do it in multiple places, I mean, here's the thing, TikTok, obviously, and I mean, I am not an expert in TikTok, but my interest is definitely there in moving content onto that platform because obviously, I mean, same video was on Instagram as was on TikTok. TikTok it blew up, Instagram it didn't, right? So I do feel like there is a lot of opportunity on TikTok. I don't know personally because I haven't had experience with that quite yet, minus Debbie's story. But obviously, there is a greater opportunity to have more eyes on your content easier there than Instagram. I'm feeling like Instagram to me still feels a little bit like conservative, I guess. I don't really know, but it just feels like TikTok, there's a little bit more opportunity there, but not everybody loves TikTok. Not everyone wants to be on TikTok. Doesn't mean you still can't do that same kind of thing on Instagram. It doesn't mean you can't still it's all available. You just have to decide what you want to do and stay consistent and be patient. And at some point it's going to click. And that's the whole point of this. And so I just thought that story was so fun and such a good, heartwarming story for somebody who's been through such hard times in the last little while, especially with everything that happened with her husband. And I know it's just been a really hard time for her. This is such a lovely, heartwarming story of how you can take something that was, really hard to go through and use it as a way to share your feelings and what you're going through to help other people. Like all the comments that were on that video, like I didn't go through them all because there was 9,000 of them, but a lot of them were, I've been here. I lost somebody last year, or I lost my wife, or I lost my friend, or I get it. I feel you. Thank you for sharing. Like it was a lot of that kind of response. Now, one of the things that I did talk about with Debbie is that when something like this does happen for you, if you do have something that goes viral, this is where your emotional intelligence needs to really be on point, because you are going to get the trolls. You are going to get the people who have negative things to say, and all of that kind of shit is going to come with this. There's a duality that comes with success. You get the good stuff, but you're going to get more of the bad stuff too. And it's about being able to emotionally handle and block out and not let those things get you down, because they're going to be there. You've got to be able to handle those things. I'm all for blocking, anything that does not make me feel good. It doesn't exist in my world. I get rid of it as soon as it makes me feel, and I'm not saying that you need to push things away or push things down. It's one thing to have an actual conversation with somebody who has a different opinion, but it's another thing if somebody's purposefully being mean and, not nice and not coming from a good place. There's a difference. So it's having the emotional intelligence to know that difference and what you need to just get out of your life because it's not healthy, and where maybe you want to explore. Okay. So that comes with this kind of success and this kind of thing where something goes viral. So you have to be prepared for that mentally. And that's why when you're starting an online business, it's not just about strategy. If you're only focusing on strategy and you're not doing the mindset work, you're not building your emotional intelligence, you're not, learning how your thoughts and your feelings create your reality, you are missing a huge piece of the puzzle because you only get so far and you'll continue to get stuck. And I had to learn that the hard way. And now I make my own mindset development as part of my coaching that I do with my clients, but also part of my coaching that I do for myself. It's so, so important. So side note, but anywho, I wanted to share that story with you guys because I thought it was great. If you want to check out Debbie, all of her links are below. Thank you guys so much for joining me here on the YouTube and the podcast. If you love this episode, let me know in the comments. And if you're on, or share it on Instagram too. I always love it when you guys share my content on Instagram and tag me. I always send you a personal message of thank you. And happy weekend, everyone. I hope you guys have a great one. Okay, that's it for me. Bye for now.